Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Akashic Swan portal, and we're looking at the week of 11 to 17 of October 2021. So we're definitely in the phase of moving to the end of 2021. So we're in the last quarter, and as I've mentioned, October is about a mini glimpse of what's coming in the next year, the year to follow, but it is also about new beginnings and about finding, in this case, in this month, what we are devoted to. What is the thing that we believe in, that we are wanting to activate and put our attention and love and dedication to. And what is that within us that we can tap into? So let's see what the cards have to say. I'm Jen Shen of jendushen.com, Akashic Swan Guidance. I created the illuminating journey cards that we're using with the guidance of the Akashic records. So first card is the Soul Portal 24. This card makes me think about potential. The potential of bringing to light and to life the things we desire, what we dream of. There's often a confusion around that. Like, yes, I should have whatever I want. And then it's like, well, what about the world? What about the earth? So this card is a very earthy card in the sense that it really brings us into this idea of, paradise. The blossoms, the marigold blossoms, the bank of blossoms, all of these leaves and trees, and this amazing castle with a magic crystal ball. And there's just so much lushness here. So much to be noted and become aware of. So as I was saying, sometimes when we have these ideas that I should have what I want, a lot of times what we think we want is an external thing. I want to have that. I want to have that thing so people will stop bothering me or say I'm successful or I know I can do what I want. It makes me think of that thing that why don't we just skip all that stuff and just go directly to the thing that we desire, the expression of who we are, the gloriousness of seeing and knowing and connecting to what is possible. And this card definitely speaks to that on so many levels. What are we fishing for? What are we using our magic wand for? What are we delighted about, ignited by? And what opens us up? What do we see around us in the world we live in? How do we see our prospects, our possibility? Is it a struggle? Is it easy? Is it going to take a long time? Like, what is possible? And, we're often reminded that if you can dream it, if you can imagine it, then it exists somewhere. And so therefore it's possible. And we are moving into a time of being more conscious of how our dedication and devotion to certain beliefs and systems require that we are aware of the fact that we are interconnected, that nothing happens in a vacuum. Second card is the 2. So the first thing that strikes me about this, so I find this is interesting, this is the 6, and we are in a 6 universal month. And we will be in a 6 universal year next year. So that's what this is kind of reminding us about, how we bring ourselves into our potential, how we light the flame within us to activate what is possible. And when we see the 2, so the first thing, or the second thing, besides the number, the 24 and the 2, we have the orange. And orange is very much connected to our sacral chakra, the second chakra, and that is about creation. How do we create? How do we activate being a creator, accepting that idea. And then I'm fascinated that it's the level 2 card, because next year we have, in 2022, we have 3 2s. So the 3 2s will make 6. And 2 is about relationships, our relationship with what we want, what we have, what we need, and what we're given. How do we receive? 2 is very much about being in receivership, receiving so that we can give, setting boundaries so that we don't need to, hide. All of the things that help us understand the power of connection, and that everything is connected to everything else. The 2 sides of things, being male, female, dark and night. It's polar opposites are also the extremes of the same thing, right? They're not actually opposite. They're just lying in opposite directions or corners because they're the extremities, right? Like we can say the top of our head and the tips of our toes are extreme opposites, but they're all part of us. They're all part of our body, right? So the top of our head is here to connect us to the above and to around, and our feet connect us to the ground, but we need both. And so that's the reminder of the 2. The other thing that's so interesting about the 2, if you look at the shape, it's kind of like a hook, like it's open. It's a hook to hook into new things. And the fact that it's flat on the ground, that it's kneeling, maybe in prayer position, in that place of being extended and open and yet aware. So that part of surrendering ourselves, although a lot of people don't like the idea of surrendering, but surrendering what? What are we surrendering to, right? What are we going, oh yeah, I want more of that, and I don't want more of that? Or are we surrendering to the idea of what's true to us so that we can find the harmonic or the balance point and go, yes to that, no to this, maybe to this. But we want to get clearer and clearer about who we are so that we can truly understand this relationship we have with our internal world and the external world. What are we imagining? What are we dreaming of? And how do we create that in the world? Do we really want the things we say we want? And if we do, then what is it we need to do? Who do we need to connect to? What do we need to know? Again, building those relationships. How can we collaborate? How can we connect? How can we get past the idea that we have to do it alone, that somebody's going to cheat us, or whatever our story is? All of those things. And how do we get to that place where we can just be totally so connected to what's true to us that we know if something, our intuition is heightened with this 2, with this time. We are really ramping into this idea. I know this is the way I want to go. This doesn't feel right. Why doesn't it feel right? Do I need to say something? Do I need to learn something? Do I need to do something different? And that is, again, our relationships, the connection between the focus or the idea and bringing it alive. And then the card 3. So this is very interesting because this is the 29. And the 29 is also a 2. It's an 11. 2 and 9 is 11. 1 and 1 is 2. So 22 next year is a master number, which adds up to a 4. And a master number 22 is about peace and designing the experience we're having, right? We're going to design this thing. But often, this is what it looks like on our way here. So we look at things and it all feels jumbly and dark and confusing, and we're trying to figure out what the symbols mean. What do the signs mean? How do we step deeper and deeper and deeper into relationship with ourselves, into relationship with the earth, with the cosmos? How do we get to that place where we're seeing beyond What is the obvious? And we're hearing and knowing and tapping into the depths of the portals, the depths of the magic, the things that hide or lie behind layers and layers. It's not obvious. And the reason it's not obvious, because if it was obvious, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, number one. And number two is we have to make an effort in order to get past our illusions and our assumptions and our nature that might just want to grab things when we don't understand what it is. So this card speaks of the deepness of the journey we're on, how important it is to go places we haven't, to go beyond the ticking clock, to go beyond the old way of measuring things into this space right here, right? So it's part of the journey, the two side by side with this two, using the idea of being in relationship to all things, in relationship to our dreams, in relationship to what we imagine, our relationship to magic, to our willingness to be bold, be courageous, but also to ask for what we need and to set boundaries when we need to. One of the greatest weaknesses of our time that has been catered to and encouraged is the idea of not being able to set boundaries, because feeling like people don't listen to us when we say, no, this isn't good. Yes, that's good. We're not being listened to. So it's developing our skills of listening, and also what we're choosing to reinforce. And that part helps us to go deeper and deeper into the music of our souls, into the land beyond, the imagination, the places, the portals, the opportunities that lie beyond the veil. So, our dreams, our ideas, the things that come to us, that light us up, require that not only do we see what it is, and we are nourished by the beauty because we see the potential, but that we are willing to create the relationships that we need, the kinds of relationships that support our journey. So whether it's collaboration, whether it's speaking up, whether it's walking away, whether it's changing direction or changing the way you communicate, whatever it is, so that you can enter this arena where the magic truly lies, so that you can come back into that space you desire, you dream of. When you're walking into this, that's when you can feel and know and begin to trust the magic of your being. This truly is an amazing time to be alive, to be here, that we can be communicating, all of us, about our deep dreams, about our seeing and our knowledge that has been denied for so long. And now we are being invited to bring our courage into the front, to truly take this path, knowing that some people may not like it. We may not like it. We may be uncomfortable. We may be challenged. It may feel awkward. And yet the reward of taking our path, of becoming more of who we are, is, it's the kind of thing we cannot imagine until it happens. And it just keeps getting better and better. So, hey, let's take this journey together. Let's do this thing. Have an amazing week. I'm Jen Deshen, jendeshen.com. And as I've mentioned, excuse me, previously, the cards are available for sale on my website. I do readings if you want to connect with me, and I have a program coming up for the cards, the pilgrimage of the soul, which I think is so much of what is my work in the world, and what is being created to guide those who are being drawn to take that journey. Let me know what comes up for you, if you have any questions, and I'll see you next week.